Well, look for software support if a parent is unable to fully supervise a child while they are doing school work. Well, the software can be used as a lesson to teach kids what websites are not appropriate, as well as provide a regular report on a child's online activity. Well, we have a caller now, Mr. Vishnu from Hyderabad. Vishnu, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to get you.
Well, yes, Vishnu, I would like to ask you, well, about 1.5 billion children globally are out of school, and due to COVID-19's crisis, what could be the effects of this, Vishnu?
Yeah, this is a very alarming situation because the academic year is getting delayed and most of the students as well as the educationists, teachers and the students are put in a lot of trouble because of this.
Yes.
The whole thing goes back to the lockdown period where the entire country was shut down for more than 2 months to fight against the COVID.
Yes.
Not allow it to spread everywhere because it's a very alarming thing and the virus was spreading like a wildfire across the whole world. And not to speak of the situation in India where we have so much of population to fight against this pathogen. So the government of India has made some arrangements to slow down the process of getting affected. I mean, to contain this process of spreading this virus, the government has made all the steps to lock down all the departments, including the education department also. And in the process, the education department has issued some orders for the schools not to open until they get some clearance from the central government. And in the process, even after the clearance of this lockdown also, the government is yet to decide whether to go with the online classes further or to curtail this process and put the students back into the classrooms.
Right.
It's a very tricky situation, as you can understand.
Well, also, Mr. Vishnu, I would like to ask you, as being a parent, how are you dealing with your kids? Well, there is a complete scenario before COVID-19 and also after COVID-19. How are your children? How are you dealing with your children during these online classes?
Yeah, it's really a sea of change I'm seeing during this period because generally we used to send our child to the school and just forget because we used to pay the requisite fees and other things and we used to take care of our professional work and business.
Right.
Right now, both myself and my missus, they have to focus a lot upon the child because now the child is at the house.
Right.
4 hours it is at house and only for a brief interval it is the child is made to attend the online classes and rest of the time we have to take care.
Right.
Providing education, we have to really sacrifice our professional hours and we have to sit with him to study, understand and to provide some kind of link between him and the education because education being a perennial process should never have any kind of curtailment or break in between. So we are taking all the necessary steps to get him involved into some type of study apart from the online classes because the children being quite young and tender, they don't have the interest or the kind of vision to attend the classes regularly. They
Right.
try to while away and even during the classrooms also, their focus is not on the lessons because only the personal presence of the teacher would ensure that the student focuses on the class.
Right.
But here, because he is at his own space, he is not in a position to put all his energies on the class or the lesson which is being taught by the teacher over the online. So, one of the parents have to sit with him constantly, continuously, and they have to guide him to bring his focus upon the lesson. And even after the online classes, we have to really sit with him to do the necessary homework and other things. And we have to procure the material from other
Right.
sources also. And we are trying to provide him some extra enrichment through those books.
Right. Also, well, Mr. Vishnu, as you told me about the preparation that you are taking place during the online classes because of your kids, I would like to ask you, are you also getting prepared with the online classes with your kids too? Like, you know, it is a very complete scenario for the kids these days. They do not know the actual apps, like how to get into online classes, right? Are you also taking precautions or are you also learning with them?
Yeah, really, you have made the right point.
Right.
Actually, nowadays I am getting acquainted with these online classes more than him.
Right, I do agree with you.
Because the child is very young, so he does not know how to enter into the Zoom meeting also.
Right.
I have to really fix him up. I have to take the caller ID, password, everything. Then I have to really make him sit during the class and listen to that class. And if he gets any doubt also,
Right.
they say that the student has to raise his hand before the cam. He has to switch on the cam and has to raise the hand. But since so many students are around, the teacher is not able to focus upon individual students.
Right.
So I have to listen carefully and clear his doubts also. I'm donning the role of a teacher also nowadays.
Right.
This is the situation now because there is no other alternative available to us. We can't leave the students to themselves. We have to sit with them, take care of them, and even after the online classes, which are only for a very brief interval, we have to really provide other types of nourishment, educational nourishment for them.
Right, I guess it is a very big task for you, for the parents to, teach their students after the online classes.
Very much, because we too are new to this type of things, because we are not used to attending classes online also.
Right.
So it's a kind of challenge for us which is going on nowadays. And of late they are starting some online tests also, which is going to be a real test for all the parents.
Right.
The situation is like that.
Well, also, Mr. Vishu, I would like to ask you, I would want to talk about your student, from your student side, how is he reacting to this online classes, well, as it is complete different? Well, he was used to that classrooms and all, right? Well, now it's a complete scenario. It's very difficult for the students also to manage online classes. So how are they managing? Are they liking it, or are they willing to go back to school as usual?
No, to tell you the truth, there are two things involved in this particular thing.
Right.
One is the attending the school, and the second one is attending the online classes.
Right.
Here, as with most of the students, he is not so much inclined to go to the school as of now.
Okay.
But spend time at home, and because he can have a lot of freedom in the house,
Right.
he is free from all the school restrictions. So he is happy staying at home. But
Right.
getting to the other point of learning online, he is finding it very difficult because sometimes the volume goes down, and
Right.
sometimes of the 4 options, only 2 are visible on the screen. The other 2 we have to guess from our own.
Right.
And suddenly some teachers also, because they are not professionally trained to teach over online, they are also finding it difficult to present themselves. They
Right.
are in a sort of hurry to deliver everything within that short capsule of time. So that is the problem the student is facing. He is not able to attend the lesson or listen to it properly. All these things are there. Sometimes Wi-Fi connectivity goes.
Right, there'll be a lot of technical issues during the online classes, and sometimes they miss the classes also. So
Exactly.
that will be a very difficult task for you as well as the teacher also.
Yes, because I tell you, more than me, more than the of the parents also, the ladies suffer a lot because they have to take care of the household work, and on
Right.
top of that, they have to sit with the children and do this type of work also.
Right.
So they are doubly strained at the end of the day.
Right.
So it is like that. The online classes is only a kind of makeshift arrangement. It can never it can never occupy the role of a classroom study, because classroom study is the best
Right.
option available for the student to understand, grasp, or learn anything new. The very presence of the teacher is so enriching, enlightening, and it is really ennobling to learn from a living teacher.
I definitely agree with your point, Mr. Vishnu.
Yes, it is like that. So that is the personal feeling which I carry regarding the online classes. I don't find fault with the system, but it can never ever replace that classroom teaching. This is my firm belief which I am sharing with you.
Right, I agree with you. Also, Mr. Vishnu, I would like to ask you, well, how online learning can affect students' health?
Yeah, this
We also know that, these generation kids are more addicted into, gadgets and all, right? And also it is very stressful for these days kids to handle the online classes for hours together?
Yeah, definitely. Already they are before the systems for quite a long time because they are watching all types of cartoons. Whatever are available on the planet, they are going through everything. So that already stresses them.
Right,
Added to that is this online teaching, where they will be made to sit mandatorily before the system.
right,
So in our house also the student, my child is also facing a sort of optical problem nowadays.
right,
Already is endowed with a pair of spectacles, and I don't wish that the lens becomes thicker every year.
right,
So this is a situation not only with me but with many parents, because sometimes some auxiliary problems like sitting before the system for a long time not only gives them some kind of headache or optical problem, but also deprives them of the free movement. By
right.
that, some obesity is also getting, I mean, there is some scope for the formation of obesity also,
True, because
which
they
is
sit for very long hours, you know.
they are
That
happily sitting in their sofas, they don't make a move at all. So they are becoming obese nowadays, which is
right,
really detrimental for them at this young age. Because they have a lot of future. And if they are not physically fit enough or well enough, they cannot handle the situations in future.
right,
So they are becoming very neurotically also, he is feeling little isolated. He is not able to meet anyone. And
right,
added to that, the fear of COVID, we are not taking him outside also for any round or anything like that, which we were doing it previously. Now being deprived of all these things, any external movement or contact, he is having a kind of psychological depression. So I am also applying for leave and spending some valuable time with him, because so that he does not lose that type of morale and does not break down.
right. As you're talking about mental health, I would like to ask you, how will a student's mental and physical health affect?
Yeah, definitely the physical health, as you all know, will definitely get affected, because they are made to get exposed to these electromagnetic waves for a long time. Sitting before the systems is quite undesirable for them at this particular age.
Right,
If they are mature enough, probably they know how to handle the system.
right,
Now in the pretext of learning something, they go to their favorite sports or cartoons, they watch them endlessly. So many parts will be there, they are serialized. So one after the other they will be watching, and they lose all types of interest with the family members also. They are really addicted to it. And the other thing is, since they do not have any contact with the external world, they are becoming sort of gloomy. They are, I mean, facing this loneliness or
right,
aloofness, and that really sets a kind of syndrome in them, which is
right.
really undesirable. That's why
Yes,
every parent has to spend their quality time with the children, not minding their official work, because this is the time which is so precarious and so dangerous that the child needs to be protected from all age, physical, mental, emotional, and the best thing is that parents can induce him into a kind of spiritual activity which we are doing at home.
right,
That's why he gets connected to a higher power and he feels peace within himself. So
right.
daily prayers, recitations, chants will really motivate him, not only now, even for the rest of his life also. He will be in a position to handle any stressful situation with equivocal mind.
Right, I agree with you, Mr. Vishnu. Also, sir, many parents, students are turning to online education technology. What do you have to say? Is it safe?
Yeah, it is definitely not safe, but it is accepted because there is no other go for it.
Right,
If there was any kind of alternative arrangement, definitely we would have discarded this online system and would have opted for that. But
right,
since we are reduced only to this particular alternative or the only provision, we are going ahead with this. Though at heart we don't like to continue with this anymore. We are ready to stop it at any instant.
right,
This is our personal feeling, because this is not the way to learn things. Here he is only getting stuffed with some information,
right.
but the process of learning is not at all taking place. People
Yes,
are confused between information and education. Education happens only in the personal presence of a living teacher,
right,
and only information that we can supply through online or offline or any other modes available. This is
right,
certainly not the education, I believe. There is no learning involved in it.
right. Well, also, Mr. Vishnu, I would like to ask you how students can maintain their mental health while engaging in online class.
The best thing is that we have to, apart from the online classes, we have to motivate him constantly. Suppose there is some lesson in science, we have to show him some pictures relating to solar system and other things over the videos or some books. If we have any books, we have to, and we have to keep speaking to him all the while regarding the different geographical conditions which are prevailing in our country and across the world also. And we have to enlighten him regarding the plants and the animals which are around us, which form a part of our world, our living system, their importance, and regarding the pollution and regarding the various ways of life, and regarding the many things that are going on in the country, the main issues, we can speak to them in a language which is really reachable to them.
Right.
That way, he will be really very happy. We generally do something like every day I will give him about one topic and he has to write 5 lines on it.
Right.
He has to search himself, sit before the system and search for 5 lines. He has to collect regarding that. Today I have given him about ISRO.
Right.
So he has to complete that task before the evening and he has to show me when I return home in the night. So that is how we can motivate children to get involved in a kind of learning. This is the best thing. His eyes will be upon the knowledge, the information, and we have to teach him the importance of knowledge in one's own life. If
Right.
it is imbibed deeply within him, if it is within him very deeply, then naturally he will have a tendency to seek knowledge from every source, which is really ennobling and sacred also.
Right. Also, sir, I would like to ask you, can you give me a detailed explanation of advantages and disadvantages of social online classes?
Yeah, this is a wonderful question and quite pertaining to the times of present times also, because the online education, the main advantage is that the process of information, I would rather say, not education, is not lost off. Something
Right.
is being provided to him at some regular periods of time. At least he can see his teacher online
Right.
for a brief period. At least he can have some interaction with them. If he is not cleared his doubts also, something happens during that period and he is quite into a kind of belief that something is happening and he is into this particular academic year in this different way.
Right.
So he is not lost sight of the educational process on the whole.
Right.
And that is the one good thing which the online classes are taking care of. And here recently the schools are also releasing textbooks also. So seeing the new textbooks, the students are quite excited. They are really trying to learn something out of the online classes only after the arrival of the textbooks.
Right.
They can see, they can match what is going on there and here. So that type of excitement always stays. And
Right.
the second thing, and all the other disadvantages are numerous.
Right.
Because this is not the way to give education to children.
Right.
So this is not at all the process of learning anything from anybody. So here only a kind of like this is the lesson you have and this is the information you have. Some guidelines are given during the online and the rest of it has to be taken care by the parents.
Right.
Here most of the thing which is happening nowadays is that parents, either of them have to sit with the child, make him understand what has been taught in the online classes and they have to really make him do well in the test and motivate him constantly and also make him free from the psychological isolation and depression which they are suffering presently.
Right. Also, finally, sir, I would like to ask you, what do you have to say about online classes?
Yeah, I would say the online classes are most welcome if they are only for a brief period.
Right.
And I really wish that the government, with all the precautions and care, provides some kind of segmentation within the classes and makes the student attend the class, some 5 to 6 members or maximum 10 members, 10 students at a time. Even if it is for 2 hours also, it has a different effect. Going to the school is really something different from sitting at home.
Right.
So all these dimensions which are closed for the last 3 or 4 months will start opening slowly and you will be awakened to the world at last.
Right.
This is my earnest feeling which I am sharing.
Well,
this medium.
well, thank you so much, Mr. Vishnu, for joining us on live.
Thank you so much.